What's going on YouTube? My name's Dakota and welcome back to another video. And I'm sure as you can see, we have a completely different car than my first video. I just want to start off by, in the last video, I did say that I'm a big Subaru guy and that I plan on getting into another one. It just kind of came up a little bit sooner than I thought it was going to. But yeah, today's video is kind of just going to be another overview of this car. For now, until I start getting some parts ordered up for it and whatnot. I just want to say sorry for the month break that I took off. Things have been hectic and a little rough and didn't really have anything to put out for you guys. So I just kind of waited till the time was right, and I feel like time is starting to become right. So we'll go ahead and get into it. So I went and got this car probably maybe a week after I filmed that last video. And I had the car up on Facebook. I really enjoyed having the SRT4. They're really good cars, kind of, but they have a lot of flaws. A lot of things go wrong on those cars, specifically sensors. I'm not sure why, but sensors go bad left and right. They run like crap. That car in particular, when I first bought it, and I wish I would have started this when I first bought it because it was a journey. I picked it up when it absolutely ran like trash. I traded a perfectly running truck for it. Some people probably think I'm stupid for it, but I did it because I knew there was value if I fixed it up. So I traded the truck. We drove an hour for it, brought it home. I drove it while it ran like trash to make sure I made it to work and back. And then over the weekend, I had started diagnosing what was wrong with it. Talked to several guys, took it to a guy who was very knowledgeable in those cars and whatnot. And he kind of told me a bunch of things, and I tried to fix them with what he gave me. He helped me out with parts, told me where to get parts, things like that. And I started replacing sensors in it, replaced all my boost solenoids and stuff like that was hidden back. I replaced plugs. I replaced everything to try to make it back to as factory of a car as I could. Until I got it there, and then I would start modifying it myself. That way I knew everything that was going on with that car. But I ended up doing all that and started putting a little bit of money into it for sensors and parts and stuff. And the one thing I knew, and I was telling everybody it was a injector, a bad injector. And that was the one thing that I hadn't replaced. And I went and bought a set off this guy of 750cc RC injectors, and then realized if I put these in, I needed a tune. And I really didn't want to spend the money on a tune because a tune can be, it can be anywhere from $400 to $500. And I really didn't want to spend that just for injectors when I planned on putting all this other work into it that I would have had to get a retune eventually. So I ended up buying a set of stock injectors off another very knowledgeable guy in PA, and he's super good at these cars, has tons of parts, helped me out with a lot of the stuff that was on that car came from him because he had it, and he was very helpful if I had any questions to figure out what was wrong with it. One night coming home from a car meet, I completely lost power to my lights. Like none of my running lights were on. I kept blowing fuses in the dash, so I had no lights on the dash, and I couldn't figure out what was wrong with it. So I started diagnosing it, getting into it, and somebody had wired a positive wire into my fuse box so that the radiators would constantly be on. And it was very helpful for keeping the motor cool and whatnot, but it was clearly blowing fuses in my... So I started messing with my AFR gauge, and my AFR gauge at the time was working, but it wasn't working because of that. And so I started messing with it, and I still couldn't get it to power back on, and ended up just putting everything back together. And me and a buddy of mine and our girlfriends went out to eat. When we went out to eat, it sounded like a completely different car. Wasn't popping as much as it was, just was running like absolute garbage. And on the way home, I was trying to get back to my house, and we were still about, I don't know, 10-ish minutes away from the house, and the car just started bugging, started running way worse, horrible, and I'll throw some videos in here so you guys can hear that. But after that, I thought I blew it up. I was fully convinced that the car blew up and that was the end of it. But I ended up talking to a couple people, and they suggested flush the oil, get all the gas out of the oil out, and change those injectors, because sure enough, I had a stuck injector. It was pushing fuel. It was pushing so much fuel, it was coming out of my exhaust through every exhaust leak that was on that car, and just, it was bad. So I ended up buying a factory set of injectors, and I threw them into the car, did an oil change, new spark plugs, went from the AGP wastegate back to a factory wastegate, like again, returned it pretty much back to stock, cleaned it up, and flushed it out and whatnot. And then I drove it for about a week after I finally got started back up again, and it ran awesome. Drove it for about a week, did another oil change just to cycle out all that fuel that was in the motor and into the oil. And then after that, the car ran phenomenal once I got the injectors changed, but it did burn oil pretty good, and I'm pretty sure that it messed up the rings or something along the lines of that, and it just wasn't something I was looking forward to down the road. So I had thrown it up on Facebook and put it up there for trades or cash, and some guy threw me an offer that I couldn't refuse. He came and bought it, and the next day we made a drive all the way down to Delaware and picked up this car, and now we're here. Although this car does need a lot of work on the outside, I have had zero issues with it, motor wise, anything like that, since I've been driving it. The only issue that this car has is the coilovers are absolutely junk. I talked to the previous owner, and he said somebody must have rode them on max stiffness, and it's like bouncy balls. So those are gonna get replaced, and I will make a video on that, because we are gonna start, once I get the coilovers, I'll start making the fitment a little bit better. It's not horrible now, but I will be making it a little bit better. And then the biggest flaw of this whole entire car is there's paint fade, and someone tried to wet sand it. I may or may not throw a couple clips in here, but today, as I'm filming this video, I am going to sit down and thoroughly try to buff this car as much as I can and see how much of the where the previous owner tried to wet sand, how much of it I can get out. But we'll see. But yeah, let me just go ahead and show you guys the vehicle, talk a little bit about it, and then we'll go from there. So we'll go ahead and start off at the back. All I gotta say is these are my favorite generation Subarus. This is an 05 Subaru WRX, and it's my favorite front end. Just everything about the 04 to 05s are my favorite. But this Impreza body style, it's my favorite for sure. But I really like the WRX taillights and whatnot that come on these, and then previous owner or somebody before him threw on the STI wing, which I can't complain about. But as you can see here, we have a full cat back NVIDIA exhaust the whole way back, and then we have Inky RPF 1s wrapped in Continental tires. As you can see, they're getting chewed up by the inner fender here. I'm gonna have to have these rolled whenever I fix my fitment, and then I'm gonna obviously have to buy new tires for the rear end. But yeah, as you can see, this is what I'm talking about. Somebody tried to previously wet sand it, and I went through yesterday and started just doing like a light cut. I haven't buffed any of this yet. This is just cut, like right here. This is just cut, and it already is way different than in here. So I'm gonna do that to the whole car today and see how much more we can bring out of it. You can see this car, like the car door was previously bondoed at some point, and this all just completely cracked. Somebody must have gotten into an accident with it, and that's a flaw. This mirror is a flaw, but I'm getting ready to have a brand new set of those. And then working our way to the front, we have a full real carbon fiber hood scoop and hood. And as you can see, the hood has seen better days, but I will be fixing that. As much as I am going to be fixing anything that needs buffed on this car. I already cleaned up the headlights the second day that I had the car because they were atrocious. They will be getting switched out though, but I do really love the factory look of a blah-bye for an end. Bumper has also seen better days. Whenever we were actually picking the car up, he managed to snap the inner plastic pieces of this bumper. So I'm either going to replace the whole thing or figure something out. That way I can fix the alignment, because it's literally just held, like the body line is held on by zip ties currently because there's no mounting point unless I create one, which I might. But working our way to the inside, and it is a mess. I'm sorry. It has a Cobb tuner with a professionally tuner tune on it. I believe from IAG it was dynoed at 290, if I'm not mistaken, is what he told me. It definitely gets for sure. Nothing crazy, it's a Subaru, but nevertheless, it's a very enjoyable and really good straight tune. Steering wheel has also seen better days, but I will be replacing that one soon. I went ahead and threw this in there with the adapter there, and then the shift knob, and then I installed a Boss Audio Bluetooth Apple CarPlay radio in here. As you can see, the fitment's pretty off, so I'm gonna work on that today as well. And then previous owners added a glow shift boost gauge and forgot 2 other gauges, but I'm probably gonna be replacing this whole entire thing with 3 new gauges and the carbon fiber one that they sell. But yeah, that's pretty much an overview of the entire car. By all means, there are a lot of flaws on it, but I will be working on these as soon as I can, and then I will of course be making videos about it. So yeah, that's all I have for you guys today. I'm gonna throw in a couple drive-by clips right here. But thank you guys for watching again. Thank you for all the support on the first video. It's not much, it's a start, and I really appreciate everybody that watched the video, watched it fully through, took the time to like and subscribe. I really appreciate you guys, and you guys are awesome. But yeah, if you guys want to help me and watch me on this journey of building cars, checking out my friends' vehicles and stuff that they have and the events that we do in life, be sure to continue helping support, and I'll keep pushing out these videos. Thank you.